Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is KJ speaking. Today I'm glad to share with you guys how to write a band 7 in IELTS writing task 1. And today's topic is bar chart, which I'm gonna focus on movement data. So now let's begin. To begin with, let's have a quick look at an action plan. Here, there are 3 steps. Step 1, task and data analysis. Step 2, data classification. Step 3, writing. All of these steps I'm gonna detail one by one later. So now let's move on. Now let's move to the action plan. As previously mentioned, there are 3 steps to follow. First and foremost is step 1, task and data analysis, which is the pre-writing stage. Let's have a look at the exercise. For timescale, it is a movement data because it was about changes in average length prices between 2005 and 2016. So the time that might be used here are past simple and past perfect. Turning to subject or data, it's about length price. Next is type of chart. It's a bar chart. Concerning unit here is in percent. Then regarding the number of chart, there is one given chart. Regarding axis or horizontal axis represent periods, ordinate or vertical axis represent percentage change. Lastly is the legend. There are 5 legends here, CTA to CTE. Alright, let's proceed to the next step. Step 2, data classification. There are 3 crucial items here, trend, grouping, and exception. First of all, trend. Trend are the general image that tell the reader what happened to the chart in general. In the exercise, the trend is mostly drop in average length price in the first period. Then 4 in 5, head markedly climb. Turning to grouping. Grouping means the way we categorize all similar or relevant elements into one group or category. In the exercise, we classify 2 groups. The first is the declining trend in city A, C, and E in the first period. The second is the rising trend in city A, B, D, and E in the second period. Finally, the exception. The exception refers to all things that are out of group or different from other in the group. In the exercise, there are 2 exceptions. The first is the rising trend in city B and D in the first period. The second is the declining trend in city C in the second period. Well, let's move to the next step. Step 3, writing. Here I divided the writing task into 4 sections. Introduction, trend, feature, and summary. First, let's begin with the introduction. To utilize time efficiently, your introduction should be merely a paraphrase of the question. Please keep it short and precise. Let's learn how to write a straightforward introduction altogether. The question is, the chart below shows information about changes in average length price in 5 various cities between 2005 and 2016 compared with the average length price in 2004. So how did I paraphrase this? I paraphrase it as, the graph illustrates how typical length costs had varied in percent in city A to E from 2005 to 2016 in comparison with those in the year 2004. As you can see, I employ other words that still maintain an identical meaning to the question. For example, I use the word graph instead of chart, illustrate instead of show, how instead of information about, typical length price instead of average length price, head varied instead of change, city A to E instead of 5 various cities from 2005 to 2016 instead of between 2005 and 2016, in comparison with instead of compare with, those instead of the average length prices, and finally in the year 2004 instead of in 2004. So one takeaway from this section is to paraphrase as no tomorrow. Alright, now let's move to trend. Trend are what the chart show in general. Let's have a look at my general trend. In general, a majority of cities had receded in land prices in the second half of 2000, while a year later, all except one had markedly climbed. Look, I firstly concluded that in the first period, land prices in most cities had dropped. Then I used the sentence connector while to contrast the rising trend in the second period in 4 out of 5 series. This is such a well-rounded trend because it covers an entire image of the chart in both periods. Next, main feature. Here are some strategies to deal with bar chart with movement data. First, you should begin your description with the early period before proceeding to the next one. In the exercise, I first describe the 2005 to 2010 period and then the 2011 to 2013 period. Second, you should identify grouping and exception. In the exercise in 2005 to 2010 period, the grouping is city A, C, and E, and the exception are city B and D. In 2011 to 2013 period, the grouping is city A, B, D, and E, and the exception is city C. Then in each period, you should present the grouping from most to least significant orderly. In the exercise in the first period, you should follow the description as city C, E, and A orderly. In the second period, you should follow the description as city E, A, B, and D orderly. After that, you may include the exception to show why they are different from the previous one. In the exercise, in the first period, the exception are city D and B. In the second period, the exception is city C. The first main feature is the 2005 to 2010 period. Firstly, I use a clear opening from 2005 to 2010 to inform the reader which data I refer to. Then I presented data of a group of decreasing trend from highest to lowest orderly. As you can see, I described from a decrease of 7% in city C and E before moving to a decrease of 5% in city A. After that, I use a sentence connector nonetheless to introduce a reverse trend in other city B and D. One takeaway from this section is to remember to use reopening and sentence connector. The second main feature is the 2011 to 2013 period. I began the description with an opening sentence. The stark contrast is clearly seen between 2011 and 2016 to both shifting the reader attention to the next period and emphasize that the trend in that period is different from the previous one. Then I kick off the data description with a group of rising trend from the highest to lowest, from a 12% rise in city E to a 1% rise in city D orderly. Remarkably, from one city to another, I wisely employed different word choice to show similar patterns such as analogously and similarly, and to show the order such as lastly. Next, I use a sentence connector conversely to introduce a reverse trend in city C. One remarkable takeaway here is to use an abundance of vocabulary. Finally, the last part of a report writing is a summary. In a report writing, if you fail to include trend earlier, or your trend are not fully cover the general image of the given chart, you should utilize the summary section to recap the general trend of the given chart. Nonetheless, in this practice, since the general trend is clearly presented, it is not much worth writing a summary. Rather, you should utilize the remaining time to double-check grammatical error and sentence structure. Okay, now let's have a look at my full-length writing sample. Please pause the video to read it and identify how I approach this task effectively. Well, now it's time to recap all the takeaways from this video. First, task achievement. If you take a computer-delivered IELTS, word count can be seen on the screen. But if you take a paper-delivered IELTS, you should ensure that you reach a minimum word limit. Second, coherence and cohesion. 1. Ensure you present every single element concisely. So, avoid using any unclear vocabulary to confuse reader. Rather, choose other clear, straightforward words to produce an easy-to-follow report. 2. Make sure you are able to reserve a 5-minute double check at the end of your test. To this end, you have to practice writing daily until you are able to finish the test in 15 minutes. This allows you to double check all unintentional mistakes such as spelling, sentence structure, tense, grammar, and punctuation. Third, lexical resource. Try to impress the examiner with your splendid wide range of vocabulary, as you may see in the following list. Fourth, grammatical range and accuracy. Be aware of 10. Here we use past perfect to describe action in the past tense period. Well, now it's come to the end of the section. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.